Hi everyone. For this video we're going to solve a linear inequality. And so just so you know, before we get started, the rules for solving linear inequalities is very similar to how you normally solve for a variable whenever you solve an equation. The difference really comes down to what happens to this inequality at a certain point. And so we'll talk about that as we get there. But to get us started, we want to get all the v's on one side. And so typically we like to have the v's on the left, but you don't need to do that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract the 8v on both sides. And by doing that, it gets rid of the 8v here. And I have 6v minus 8v, which is negative 2v minus 5. Notice I'm going to keep that inequality there. So you're going to treat it like an equals until the very end. And I still have negative 11. Okay, my goal is still to solve for this v, and so I need to get rid of this negative 5. So I'm going to do the opposite, right? Add 5 to both sides. And negative 5 plus 5 is 0, so that cancels out. And I have negative 2v on the left side, less than or equal to negative 11 plus 5 is negative 6. Okay? Again, our goal is still to get that v by itself. So now I'm going to divide by negative 2 to get rid of this coefficient here with the negative 2 in front. And so I'm left with v. Now at this point, this is where the inequality, it matters which direction it's going. So because I am dividing by negative, this inequality needs to switch around. So basically, if you multiply or divide by a negative number, so it only works for multiplication and division, the inequality switches around. And then you treat this right hand side just like you normally would. So negative 6 divided by negative 2 is positive 3. And so my solution is v is greater or equal to 3. Now you may be asked in ALEKS to not just be able to graph this, but to write it in interval notation. And so I'm just going to draw a quick number line here. So when I say something is greater than or equal to 3, okay, so the first thing is there's a bar here, right, that equal sign. So what that means is it's a closed circle at 3, and then it's greater. So which direction are the numbers getting bigger? The numbers will get bigger if you move to the right. So this is what the graph would look like, okay? And if I want to write the solution in interval notation, remember you have to use either brackets or parentheses for that. And so you read a graph from left to right. So it's going to start at the 3 here, okay? And because it's a closed circle, I need a bracket. So it starts at 3 with a bracket, and it goes forever to the right. So it doesn't have an ending point, which is why we use infinity. And it's positive infinity because it's going to the right. The numbers get bigger. And because we're using the infinity symbol, we have to use a parenthesis. So you may be asked to give the solution in two different ways. You could have the answer here, v is greater or equal to 3, or 3 with the bracket, comma infinity with the parentheses.